Hello and welcome to the Serious Games Podcast, all about playful methods for interactive trainings and facilitation. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Serious Games Podcast. And today I'm honored to have Manolo Lopez with me to talk about the Kanban Clinic, one of his favorite games. And literally, I just observed him playing and facilitating during Play 14 Luxembourg. Manolo and I, we tried to figure out when we met the first time, probably during COVID. We had a Play 14 Big One edition that was online, but Manolo is, also part of the Play 14 community. He has been a co-organizer in Barcelona, and now he's a mentor. And so many things that he could share. So first of all, let me say welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you, Julian, for inviting me to your house.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, in fact, we're right here in Berlin, and I didn't
Madrid.
Yes, I didn't know if I mentioned it already. Madrid. That's where you're at home, and Madrid is also a special location on this weekend because this is where the Play 14 Madrid will happen in parallel with Play 14 Berlin. All right, enough about Play 14. Manolo, 2 questions to get us started. Number 1, what should our listeners know about you? And my second question is, what is your 30-second pitch for the Kanban Clinic?
Wow. The first one, Manolo. Manolo is someone is working as agile coach, transformation, but some years ago, I discovered the power of the play or the power of the games, just for learning, for this moment that one thing is all the information that you give the people, and the other people is that they really understand, no? And thanks to the games, the people really understand all the concept that we try to transmit in our training, etc. And for that, I discovered this playfulness world, and a little bit crazy about that. I have to say, no. And this is Manolo. I'm trying to every time I want to incorporate more games, more playing in my life, not just in my training with my customer. It's just in my own life. I also now try to be more playfulness in my life. And this is me.
And I know there's so many games we could talk about, and I have to share with the listeners when we flew back, or actually we traveled back from Play 14 Luxembourg, we had the opportunity to chat. Actually, we could have recorded that, right? We had the opportunity to chat like almost an hour about the Kanban clinic at Luxembourg Airport. So again, there's many things that we could talk about, but today we picked the Kanban Clinic because I know that you not only love to facilitate it, but you made some tweaks and you're using it very often. And I think this would be so wonderful to learn more about this this intervention. So, what is your pitch? How do you explain it to someone who's never heard about the Kanban Clinic?
Kanban Clinic is a game that we use to explain Kanban. Or the principle, no? One of the main principles of Kanban is to create a pull system, and we used to we have been educated to push our work, and with Kanban you discover the power of when you create a pull system. So it's every time that I propose the game is something is magic. I think that there's a moment I will say stop, papam, and it's like the magicians to take the hat and there's the rabbit from inside of the hat. It's something like that. It's something magic, and you see the eyes, how the eyes, all the people is normally open, and say, "Wow, it's amazing." No, this is his discovery. I'm proud for that. It's also a game that we can you can use for continuous improvement for also it's I call a Kanban game, but in fact it's a game who came from Lean. No? The origin of this game was or the first time uh, uh, I was or I see this game was in a Lean training.
Okay, so you saw it, and then do you know who? I mean, obviously you would know who showed it to you during the lean training, and do you know if they already tweaked it or if they have created it?
Mhm. So I gave a little bit of changes about the game, and I accredited Kanban trainer for the Kanban University. So I incorporate in some of my training because when you start to explaining the Kanban practices and you start to talk about limiting the work in progress, and in that moment the people understand. They say, "No, yes, do understand? Yes, so let's go to play."
Yes. Yes, so that's a question that we will get to. Okay, when to use it at the beginning and the middle or the end of your, let's say, Kanban training or other, workshops or sessions where you want to show these principles or highlight specific principles. But let's start from the very, very beginning. What do you need to prepare? So, if you decide to play to use the Kanban clinic, what do you need to take? What does it take? What do you
uh,
take?
I think it's nothing. It's
Hmm.
very simple because it's something that we all facilitator we have. No? When I say nothing is, I remember the first time I saw the game where I using just post-it and a pencil with just with this a pile of post-it and a pencil you can play of just paper. If you don't have post-it, you can create a card like this, and you can start playing. Mm. And that's all, no? And also to have, the rules of the game, but the material just for playing is that. You know.
Yes, and maybe you can ship me a picture. I can put that in the podcast, and maybe our listeners will then look at their player right now, and hopefully it shows. But I know, okay, by now you do have like reusable materials and templates, right? That you use where you can write with a whiteboard marker to a reduce waste, but then also B to probably reduce that ramp up time even more, right?
Mhm. Exactly. Now I create some cards, and that was with some little bit of structure, and also I plastify them in order to reuse, and with this no, and with pencil for whiteboard you can later on you can remove, and you in that way we can not to reduce the the paper that you use. But basically, the game is we are simulating a clinic, and in that clinic we go to a clinic to have analysis of in and block analysis. This is that the customer or or this clinic they require. No? So it's patients or it's person customer is represented by a card. And the main topic or the main objective of this game is to have as maximal of customer satisfied. So satisfied means that that all customer enter and in the clinic, and they have this analysis of the urine and blood done.
Hmm. Okay. And okay, so I understand a ticket is a or a card is a patient. Both tests need to happen. And what are the rules? So how do the patients get to their test and to their test
It's,
results?
it's a game normally for six players, six. And each one has a role who has not. is not recommended to change. No? And the the different roles that have in the clinic have well, the 6 people is sitting in a table, 3 in front and another 3, no, and each one has a different role, and the role is or the design of the role or where each role is sitting is designed in order to create a little bit, I have to say, confuse.
Okay, okay. So what are the roles then?
The role, so we have in the table is represented the plan of the clinic, no?
Okay.
So and in the table I create different areas that is representing the dot, for example, the analysis, the analysis of urine analysis room, the block analysis room is another role. There are 2 roles. Another role is the doctor. The doctor is the person who is going to check the analysis. We also have someone when you arrive to a clinic, to any clinic where we used to go. There is one person at reception. This person is the one who asks you for your name or whatever. What we used to do is just instead of putting a name, just a number, patient number 1, 2, 3, and also we resisted the time at this patient arrive. No? We start with a clock at 0:00, and from that moment the clock start to clock. And when this person is in the reception desk, write the number at the time as this patient arrive, they have to invite this patient to the waiting room. The waiting room is the main area in this table. This in the middle. This plan that no, we have a vision from the top, and this area is when the people as waiting for to be attended to enter.
Is there also a role responsible for the waiting room?
Yes, there is a person who is in charge of the waiting room. It's a person that is like in all the clinics when you go, is someone that we call as auxiliar or auxiliar or clerk. That this person is the person who normally you are in a clinic, say, Julian, please, or Mr. Key, came with me to the analysis, urine analysis. Uh, so this person is the person who invite you to go to the. Here in the game is represented just to take the card and move the card to the room where is the one of the analysis, the urine or the blood. Then when the person is in this room of the urine analysis, there is the analyst there, the person who takes the role of urine analyst, and he has a dice. He rolled the dice, and this is a normal dice of 6 different faces, and he had to write the number between 1 and 6, the number which is in the who is okay, and right, and one is writing in the card this number. He invite to the person to go back to the waiting room.
Okay, okay. So, Manolo, now we're already in the mechanics, but I want to understand there's one more role missing, right? So we have urine analyst, we have the blood analyst, we have the doctor, we have the receptionist, we have the person calling the people from the waiting room.
And we have another person, the last person who is in the exit, is helping is like is in the exit of the clinic when all the analysis is done. Is the person who has to register the time of in the card, the time of the exit.
Gotcha. Okay. In the exit, there's another person. Okay, that's where we have the 6 roles sitting around the table, and they each have an area in front of them. Actually, it's like a grid, huh? But everyone has an area in front of them. that represents their their area that they're in charge of. Now, and you said this confusion happens because it's not like, let's say, it's not streamlined, right? It's not that the entry the entry point, the receptionist is not next to the waiting room, right? It could be that the waiting room is on the other end, and then the blood analyst is on the other end, and the exit is on the other. So it's a
Yeah,
there's
it's a
some
way that
waste
the
going
car
on.
has to cross.
Yes, yes. So there's some waste going on because they have to, walk. It takes lots of time. Again, even if it's represented by a card, but still, it takes time and thoughtfulness and way to move. Okay, got you. I come in. My number and my in time is logged. I go to the waiting room, and at one point, I will be asked to the first analysis. Let's say that's the urine, and then the specialist, the analyst, so to speak, rolls the die and puts down the number on the ticket. Then I go back to
Yeah, to the waiting room.
the waiting room. What
So
happens then?
so the person who is in charge of the waiting room, they see that one of the analysis is done. In this case, the urine. So he move the car to the other analysis, the blood
Okay,
analysis
got you.
room.
Got you. Obviously, I assume that there's only, I mean, we're in a clinic, right? So there's only one patient allowed in the
Exactly.
analysis room, right? I mean, that would
Exactly.
be just
Only
for
one
privacy
person.
reasons. Yeah.
Exactly. You're right.
All right. And what happens at the blood analyst?
He also has another dice. He roll the dice and write the result of the blood analysis in the card in the
Okay,
ticket.
wonderful. And then
The ticket
the
go back
analysts.
to the waiting room.
Okay, wonderful. What happens then?
Then the person who is in charge of the waiting room, they see that both only when both analyses have been done, it's time to review for the doctor.
Ah, okay. So we need now it's the third station, so to speak, or
Yeah,
literally it's the
exactly. The
fifth.
third
But
station, we can say.
next we go to the doctor. Okay,
But
gotcha.
the doctor only check if both analyses have been done.
Okay,
Mm.
good.
And now the doctor has to decide if the result of the analysis. The doctor have a secret code that I provide to the doctor. Say whatever. So he decide if, for example, the urine is okay or is not okay. If the blood analysis is okay or not is okay.
And
And
how does this secret code work?
can I say that, or we can keep
You can,
insane?
because now every
No.
listener who does not want to get spoiled and
Okay. I hope.
they will stop and jump to,
Okay.
they will
It-
jump
so
15
let's
seconds
start
forward.
saying that there are more possibilities to be wrong than to be right. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If the result of the dice is 1, 2, 3, and 4, the analysis has to be repeated.
Okay.
And
Right.
it's okay is 5 and 6.
Okay.
So we
Wow.
have more possibilities that the result is false, that is right.
And they would mark that on the
The
card too
the
and say,
card
please
exactly.
redo. Okay. And then obviously back to the waiting room. The
Exactly, back to the living room, and if the urine is okay, is wrong, has to be repeat of the blood of both.
and then back to the doctor approval. And once approved, then we can
Then
move the
to the
patient,
exit,
or actually
to
we
the
can
exit,
move
and
the
the
patient can then go to the exit point where the person responsible would log the time
exactly the
out.
exit.
And
Hmm.
anything else that they need to log?
Uh, just want to be sure that normally we set the same clock, so the person who is in entrance, no, and the person who is interested, they are together, and they have the clock in the middle. No, normally we use a mobile phone, and the clock is there, and in that way they have the same time. No.
Wow, wonderful. So that's on the one side the rules. Is that how you also explain it to your players? I mean, you just do an example of one patient moving, or how do
Yes,
you
exactly.
explain these
I take a
rules?
card. I try to make to go for all the station, all the important say it's only one. As you said before, only one person in the room of analyst in the all the specialists in the analyst and the doctor. Only one person. What else? I said to sometimes they ask me, and if blood is okay and urine is not okay, they have to repeat both. I say no, only the one is
Right, then needed. Okay, so you clarify a couple of questions. Again, I know your material, right? So you have a that
now I
board,
have a
but
card here. Let me
great.
see.
I will show that
I
in the
will.
show notes or
Yes,
literally
I
upload
have.
it to the
Let me
podcast.
check because
And
next week
Manolo, the
I
areas are marked with tape, right? I mean, that's as simple as that, right? You can just separate those areas on the table, right? No,
and
no
yeah,
need to over
exactly.
engineer.
With tapes,
Yes.
I said before the plan of the clinic. No, I represent the plan of the clinic, and the people say this is your desk, this is your area, your room, this is another room, and this is the in the middle. This is the waiting room, because like, and I will say to the I will show to the camera the the cards. I hope you can see this.
Hmm.
Okay, in
Yes, yes.
Spanish, in
I
English.
know the card. Look, if you send me a
Yeah.
picture, I will make sure that it shows up at this
Okay.
very moment in the podcast for every player that supports that. Manolo, what do you do if you have more than six participants? I mean, obviously, if you would have 12, you could do two tables, but
Yeah.
how do you distribute those? Can a
Uh,
role be, or
I
can a room
last
be a.
last
Mhm.
week I was playing with three because there were 18 people in my training. So and also depending of the amount. If uh, for example 10 people, so I have the observers. The other people I gave then the role of observer. Observer is someone who is there, and I learned for the first time I saw this game. It's very funny also to have the observers, and I gave them a board, a whiteboard, and then they write everything that they listen at the people when they are playing. And very funny because the people start playing, they start what's stupid as a word or whatever, and this kind of or someone say I am stuck or whatever. No, and this kind of expression is very funny because later they we let. A lot, and the people start laughing. No, this is a very special moment at the end. And also, I give then the instruction that please don't say anything, especially for the time of we make the retrospective and trying to what we should improve for the next iteration. And they say no, please you don't say anything by the moment, right? Because perhaps when you are outside of the and you see this view from outside you can see more than when the people is working in the clinic, not playing. Because I forgot something very important. The most important when you play. What do you know what it is? I say is to blind the mind of the people and how to make that the people blind his mind and they forget about everything. What is what is happening in the companies? Is when you boss say you have to finish something or you have to reach this goal. And I say you have to make this clinic proficiency. So in order to have a benefit from that, we need to have 40 clients in 40 minutes.
Ah, okay, okay. But we were not going to play for 40 minutes, right? How long is now
And
a round,
for,
or how long
I
is
think
a
with in 4 minutes, 4 minutes okay.
4 minutes?
For
Okay,
four
yes,
minutes, not
four
40. Four
minutes,
minutes.
and
4 minutes
four
okay. If
40.
40,
Wow. Hmm.
so and you have to say, come on, you got to do it, and you say another thing, they make it, you can don't make it. So this kind of thing, the people blow his mind, and they start to try to. So this is the most important, to repeat several times. You have to do 40, and in some time, I there are people who I have more than 40, and the people start to come. They take 40, and I start with the 40 just because he want to make 40, because I say that.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So literally and that would then start, right? I understand the table, the six colleagues, or the six players, then observers, if needed. You do answer a couple of clarifying questions, and then there's this moment where we start the time
And
and
say
where
the
it
goal is
starts.
to make 40
40 in 4 minutes.
in
Okay.
4 minutes.
Gotcha.
This
What
is
happens then normally, right? So,
normally,
yeah, you already mentioned 40
yes,
cards, right? And then,
normally,
mhm.
when I say the people, when you say 40, you have to read 40. Or when mine is empty, it's like, and the person who is in the rest, well, what happened in the clinic is the complete chaos. It's chaos, because they were just to enter people in the clinic. No, so the person who is in the reception, they just write one card, write and second, three, and you stay and you say 40, 40, and he starts to write very, very fast and just enter. So what
And they all
happened
end
is,
up in the waiting room, right?
yeah, and all in the waiting room. And there's a moment that you know happen, the person that is in charge of the waiting room, they start to see, and this one, another one, and perhaps, and sometimes they gave to the doctor empty card, or sometimes they gave another to the one is in charge of the analysis, and the analysis have been already done. So this card was for the analysis, not for the one. So this kind of confusion, and after these 4 minutes, the result is that perhaps we have, I don't know if we have 40 cards, or at least 20. I remember that data for the last week I played was 25 cards in the waiting room. Only two analysis done. Only two, one. What is it? And one was around the lead time, or the time that was there in the clinic, was 1 minute, and the other one was 3 minutes and 30. And was the number 10 and the number 25, for example. There was no any order also in the attention of the customer.
Okay. And these observations, is that something that, I mean, again, I'm assuming maybe the players know nothing about lean or Kanban, right? So how do you debrief that? Is that like then something that you help them to discover themselves? Like, hey, I mean, again, I'm just now making this up, but where you say, what are your observations? What do you see right now? And then please, observers, chime in. And then you start also using Kanban lingo and lean lingo, or when does that normally happen?
Um, I depending of on the training, no, is I like to start with this game. I like to start with this game because, or perhaps I just give some tips. These are the Kanban practices, and let's go to play a little bit, no? And uh, you realize the most important role is the person who is in the mission of this the clinic. But so I try to choose the person who I can imagine that is the person who has no idea about Lean or Kanban. Normally in a training, you first start about the no with the what is your expectation of this training, and and you see more or less But I have surprise. Sometimes I have surprise.
Yes,
I
of
remember,
course. We're
yeah,
always surprised with
I
serious
remember
games.
I training that was there was all project managers and all know a lot about Kanban, or they told me that well, I was learning Kanban. But there was this the secretary or the administrator of this piano. So I decided to put this person in this, because I suppose there was the person, and she started to limit the work in progress just for and they say you have to follow, and say there was a stop just to, and I remember her, and when he finished, he said, "Okay, I do." And what is it make? I make the opposite. I say, "You see," and I say, "Everyone, hello, it doesn't work. Let's try again. Let's put another person." So in that person, I put a project manager in this position. I change, and we make again. And in this person, start to do in the wrong way. So the first one was the
Mm,
right way, and the second,
incredible, huh?
incredible.
But again, there's a lot of things happening now because on the one hand, I mean, depending on, and that does not have to be specifically around lean management or Kanban. Um, I mean, it is on the one hand, it seems to be like counterintuitive to not start work if, or to not admit a patient if they're standing in front of the clinic for their tests. But on the other hand, it's also, I mean, as you said, right, the rabbit in the hat and the eyes are open. It also makes so much sense, right? To start limiting, and yeah, players might know this implicitly or might do this, or might strive to do it, from other contexts. And as you also said, um, it is also about this. I mean, you're pushing them, right? You're saying, okay, 40 in 4 minutes, right? You're trying to elicitate, or you're trying to pump them up a little bit, right? So that they most likely, tend to, follow that trap, being lured in to start more work than they can possibly deal with. But the other thing that I would love to discuss with you, maybe later, because I'm still interested a little bit in the flow and how then the next iteration works, is literally how you debrief if you change the positions and the people, right? Especially if we talk about managing the system and not the people, obviously. But let's go with the next iteration. Okay, so you made a lot of observations. Okay, wow, the waiting room is full, the lead time is long, or hey, they're way too long in the clinic. Only two tests done, wrong tests, double tests. I mean, there's a lot of things that they might have done that they did not need to do, and a lot of things that they needed to do that was not done. What happens then? I mean, how do you wrap that up, and how do you restart then for the next iteration?
Yes, I love you make this question because I discovered a pattern. So no, the 90% of the time I make this game. Also, I said before, no, always there is a chaos in the clinic. So now let's go to to make this retrospective. We see what happened, and I allowed them just to make one chain. I always say no. The chain has to not nobody change roles, so everyone there is no collaboration between them. The only collaboration has to be talking. They also can talk. For they cannot have more than they don't have to mainly they don't have to change the roles. But the pattern is that they want to organize the waiting room, and they ask me for more tape and say no. The problem is because everyone. So when they say who is the what is the problem here? What is the and always say no, is the problem is because the doctor. We don't know the role of the doctor. Don't say no. And or the problem is the person in the waiting room because he's not very well organized. So, so, so they decide to take. They ask me for tape, and they say no. When all the patient arrives, they have to put here. And when the ones when the UD analysis is done is on the left, for example, the waiting room. The ODIN is on the right, and for the doctor is I try to put this area, this micro stage inside, no? Oh, this is the 90% of the improvement on the second intention. No? When I ask, what is your, and they ask me for tape to make these areas
Okay.
in the waiting room.
So a clear, problem statement. The waiting room is too full. Let's
Yeah,
optimize the
this
waiting room,
automatic.
right? Okay, gotcha. And
And no, and they have a little bit improvement because at least they have some kind of control, or at least like to, but because instead of all the cars in the no like a cow, they have no piles of or cut in different areas.
yes, and Manolo, so you just to recap, you only allow one improvement, and obviously they can talk about it. So then they have to decide: do we rearrange the rooms again? Do we optimize the waiting room, or do we have more tape, or maybe even making it bigger would be obviously a second improvement. There's sometimes I'm just trying to get into, and I observed you, but I'm trying to also get into the head of the players. Is it sometimes revealed what the secret code of the doctor is? So in
Uh,
terms of when it's coming back?
that's sometimes they realize very soon in the first iteration they realize that because they say when is okay or is not okay, and sometimes I discovered I to say to them because on the third iteration they still ask me. But the problem is the doctor because we don't know when he says yes and we say no, and say so it's dependent. It's not a problem.
Right, because when
The
they
only
know, it still needs to go to the doctor, right? And they need to then sign off, right? That to approve whatever the test results are.
when they
Okay.
reveal the rule of the doctor, I say please don't trick, don't try to make trick. So especially to the analysts because they know that the whether they perhaps they can roll the dice twice.
Twice, yes,
Can be,
yes,
no,
yes, yes.
or something like that, no. Try to, so just
Right, we're
to,
gonna.
yeah, but say why it has no sense
Yes, yes. Do the
because the
test
target
twice
is
to
not
get.
to arrive 40, no, the 40 is just an imaginary target for.
True, true. All right, gotcha. So next iteration, the goal though stays the same, right? You do prime them and say, okay, look, we're still aiming. I mean, now with two patients, that literally left the clinic. I mean, 40 must seem impossible, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Is that a
40
little
and
bit
so on.
demotivating for the players?
See, and continue with this improvement, no? For example, the third iteration, I try to say something about with improvement, no? They want to improve something more or whatever. And always is someone that say, "Ah, I have the idea. I have an idea. Why don't we reduce the amount of people entering in the clinic?" So when I had that, depending on which stage, because if see, I try to take this, I try to confuse them a little bit. Because if they discover too early, perhaps the game is broken. So perhaps I would like to do at least another iteration more and to reveal the secret, at least that everyone agree. If there is a discussion in the group, si someone why don't we reduce and nobody say yeah we have to do that. If someone say another thing, I try to say no, let's go just one, or I insist just one improvement, this one or this one,
So
and
that's
try
how
to,
you a little
and
bit
I try to
control,
make a little bit,
gotcha.
to move.
And you were saying, the next iteration. How many rounds do you, like to play? Where you say, okay, we need at least 3 iterations. So again, 4 rounds, or how
Maximum
many
four
rounds? Four,
iteration.
4 rounds.
For
Okay, which
perhaps in the fourth, if didn't reach in the third iteration, or didn't have the solution, I give some noise. In the moment say, wait a moment, I not to change the rule. I'm going to say you one improvement, try to do it. And the people say, no, 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 this is impossible, no.
Got you. So, okay, 4 rounds, 4 minutes. That's 16 minutes of in simulation time plus debriefing, establishing the improvement. Do you time box this improvement or retrospective or the time in between the rounds? Do you time box that?
I try to time box the retrospective, but I'm very bad on that.
But what would
because
you say is
because
a good?
I enjoy the discussion that they
I can
have,
imagine.
and
But
I forgot about the time.
what is a good rule of thumb? I mean, would the improvement round take more than? I
Well, could be
mean,
another. Yes, could be because if they have observers, I would like to that the people also have this moment of laughing about what they listen. And before the retrospective of the improvement they had to decide, I would like to present all the data that I have. No, if I have a time, I like to make a timeline. So, man, this is we have, for example, 2025 or so before in the clinic, but we have finished two. So the first one ended in 10 minutes. I had this timeline and see, but I said that two have been exit, but can be sometimes in, depending of the dice, no? Sometimes at imagine five or six, and they can see that the lead time or the time that the people in the clinic can be from 2 minutes on. So this is a lot of variation, no? Because this is great when they have to when they reduce the width limit, no? And also one of the effects is not just do more, but at the same time you reduce the variation. No, it's like all the all the people who enter the clinic exit more or less in the same order, and and the lead time of all them has been reduced. No, you reduce all the variability that have in the first one. So this is another effect you can explain about what are the results or the clinic.
wonderful. All right. So, I learned though that they discover and have ideas in between those rounds, and then at one point it is over, right? And then you do explain, you share your observations and explain again principles, around lead time, the variation of lead time, limiting work in progress, local optimizations, um, and push
Variability.
and pull. Yeah,
Hmm.
variability, right? Push and
Also,
pull.
is if you also start one day, for example, they have working with the reduce the whip. They also can start working in improvement. How to improve this one? How you improve? And perhaps this is time for changing the rules. Try to why don't we change the position of the or why don't we use two dice? In that way, we can explain that perhaps we can extra machine or whatever. No? And also you can, if you want to use this game for lean, so you also have the ways, no, the amount of analysis, the brown analysis have been done, and you can see how to reduce the waste.
Right, right. Well, and again, I think it's 32. Again, if I say 4 minutes playing, 4 minutes reflection, and of course a little bit intro and outro. But it's seems like 45 minutes well spent, because now when you then again discuss lean principles, gamma principles, etc. You can use the Kanban clinic as an example, and then obviously as a stepstone to then also transfer it to the day to day of the learners. Yeah. So what are activities or let's say after experiencing it, after having a proper debrief on observations, maybe simulating uh, a scenario or discussing a scenario, I should have said. Um, what are things that your participants walk away with? I mean, what do they discover or implement or commit to? Maybe doing or observing, thinking differently.
Yeah, they used to say, "Oh, wow, this is great. I understand now. I understand that when the manager, the bosses came, you had to do this, you had to, and I had to wait. If I wait, I can have better result. I can finish my work. I can work more relaxed. I they so they you see in the feedback they gave me like no, they really understand no the and sometimes they say, "Oh, it's a pity that I had to. My boss has to be in this training, no, because he has to be understand that. Or my customer also is sometimes because it's difficult to say a customer no is he have been educated for that, no, for say always our customer yes, yes, you have to do this. Don't worry, I already started with the job. No,
But I really also want to, you know, emphasize when you say, I understand, that for us, I must say, understanding is, I mean, it's really a deeper understanding than just obviously reading a
so one is
slide, or
knowledge
a
to
flip
have the
chart.
knowledge, another one is to have the understanding.
Yes, yes, and that's something. Once again, with if you can elicitate that for six and more participants within 45 minutes, why even try to like lecture them at the first place, right? But that's maybe a different conversation. Can
No,
can this
when
game
I
be
have
done?
seven,
Yeah,
no, sorry,
you could.
when I have several tables playing, I also they have this competition, so it's also great, no? They want to beat the one, and you have to be aware that the people trying to trick. So this is important. But I also synchronize the same, they start at the same time, but it's the only way, no, to have and debrief all together.
Yes, yes.
Huh? Mm.
Great. And learn and ultimately
Yeah.
learn from together. Yeah. Wow. And um I mean, we met during the pandemic, but can this game be played online? That's
Yes,
one question I
yes,
must ask.
yes,
Yes.
of course.
So is that? I mean, again, we need
Yes,
stickies and a little
yes,
bit of tape. So
yes.
a line on
And
a whiteboard, I could
I use
imagine.
on middle whiteboard. I have made the plan of the clinic there. A picture of this card, have been scanned and is there the picture. And I use sometimes is they for online version. You need more time because everything is slower. No, the people have to write in the keyboard. I use, for example, I one of the problems is how to move everything. No, when they write the result of the clinic, the or the result of exactly or the analysis, how to move and the and the numbers you write in in the top, but one is one. So perhaps instead of 4 minutes, I give them 6 minutes.
Okay, got you,
But
got you. Just
the
to
result
compensate.
is the same now. They said
Okay,
chaos and
got you. Yeah. And I guess you already mentioned, and unique experience. Any other, you played it so many times. Any other, y- you know, uh, things or happenings that just also amazed you?
yeah. Mm, the only problem is the first time that in the first situation was so it's how to deal with that, no? So I try to say. Try to cheat a little bit. Then they say, no, it's not okay. Not you didn't reach the 40, so let's go for another one. He try to see someone and to cross the finger. Someone try to do it. This is something that is happen. You can do it. Or if not, say let's go to another one. How there are other possibilities and try to and they see the difference. No? Mm. This is something, but only I said before only one time, once in all I don't know 30 times I play this in with agile coaches, Kanban, trainer with a lot of people. They when you say 40, you have to they forget about everything that I have.
Yes, wow. And just go for the 40, get to
Yeah,
40.
let's go for 40.
Yes, wow. So, if I mean, I have two questions, and then we can talk about the exchanging the people and the role. But um, what is the secret sauce of the Kanban clinic? What really makes it such an impactful game for you?
It's simple, the simple rules. Mm. Uh, we see something that normal. We all of us sometimes we went to a clinic to have this analysis. So we all know all the dynamics. So it's simple. The people understand very well, and that the power of see the when you start to play push pull. What is the difference? We okay. I know the knowledge, but now is so they realize this not this concept. No, this when they really understand. So it's that they go away. The takeaway is they really understand the power of that. No? The and the power and how we can work better with no so many cows with when we have less work in progress. No. That is not the companies, or we are design or we are not design. We are designing the companies just to have no the full optimization or no the full employee of the people not working. No, it's just you have to the 100% no of the resource utilization. No, we had to so because one of the questions that we when they say I say and you heard this, but it's not doing anything, it's not doing nothing. So and I had to wait. Give me another one. No, wait. You can wait in your job. Nothing happens if you wait. Because the most important is the customer, not that you stay always busy doing things. This is not important, but we have this in mind, no? That you have to be the 100% of your time busy at work. So they realize also that, no, that you can,
No,
and so
that's
this is one of the main messages.
great. And again, if I calculate everything, and if we even go online now, it's like 45 to 60 minutes to be able to have such conversations based on a real experience and observation players made at that table or on that whiteboard. And yeah, that really makes it powerful. Well, thank you for sharing. Now, I was just going through my notes. Earlier, you said there was, and there might be a variation where you decide, or maybe where the team decides to switch players. Now, that's an interesting moment, right? Because the working assumption is as a person did not, again, we talked about utilization right now, but you did not do a good job, right? Or the one feedback that you mentioned is like, oh, the person in the waiting room seems to be unorganized, let's go and help them, right? It's really like, oh, the person needs assistance, or maybe even doubled up, right? One could say, oh, great, can't we just pull in an observer and then we're two people in the waiting room? And then obviously we can play out in 4 minutes how that literally affects the value created plus the lead time, variation of the lead time. But um, what are conversations that are important, and what is important to you when we talk about exchanging players, or AKA team members, to do a better job, whatever that means.
Sometimes yeah, we said if they can help another, there's one of the in on the debrief they say, "Can I help the no the person is because the person is very busy, the one no is very stressed is the one who's in the waiting room, no, because the one is moving and has this call, and the people one or the player want to help him, no, and at the beginning, I didn't allow because they changed the rule. No, it's collaboration. I don't allow collaboration. No? Uh, Sometimes I decide, no, one day, yes, and now you can collaborate and you can, or you can change role, or this is the time, no? But my first focus is normally is go there, no? Is go that they had to discover by themselves that is reducing the WIP. They have this amazing results, no? And I say I always finish saying this is like it's like dancing. At the end it's like dancing because because when I say you have to reduce and how many, and when I say three and they say only three, but we are six. So with three people they can do see this and I start talking, no, and say and you start talking and you start saying for the analysis for the doctor and is and I say and the person in the waiting list says, now you have the choreography. This is an dancing. You have to try to move it like din, 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 din. and and I start to see the rest of the voice out, out, out. And one of the problems is just sometimes to stop the person in the end because I just like no. He like anxious to continue writing because we are no I know problem for that no so how many years we had you had to work you had to be uh, you cannot be waiting.
Right, and again, we didn't go in detail on all your observations and conversations that could help, but obviously, all the way from what was your engagement, what was your utilization, how did you feel, when did you care about the goal most or less, right? And was it equally distributed? I mean, all of these kind of uh, topics or conversations or then observations, I can, I guess, I hope our listeners can then see how many things you can reflect and highlight and focus on just based on this yeah, 4 iterations, 4 minutes, one optimization in between, and then a wonderful debriefing. Wow, Manolo, my last question to you is, what is your ultimate facilitation tip? Now, this could be specifically for the Kanban clinic, but this could be also beyond.
Boom. Facilitation tips. I don't know. It's a difficult question. um, I think to be prepared, expect the best and to be prepared for the worst. I don't know how to say. No. So it's to be able to live with the uncertainty. That you don't know what happened, you don't know what is the people who is going to react, and you have to be not so fast mind to change, and they don't realize that you are improvising in the moment that everything is under control because you have. But also you always say no, in not this facilitation, but also in your facilitation, I made this. You always is okay normally, but sometimes it doesn't work like you expected or you imagine. But it's not just to be sure that that change should switch or whatever, and because you have always a plan B or you have patient to do. Or sometimes it's to be honest also, no? Don't say it. Okay, it doesn't work. Let's try again or let's. This is. But normally you have you have prepared something and you have this be able to change to like I said before, if in the first station everything is okay, try to change. This is the most important, no? Is to be prepared for the words and enjoy, no? Enjoy this. I think this facilitation is something I really love, and
Yes. And that's
because it's
why I think we definitely need to
the
continue
people
our
love.
conversation at a
Mm,
different point and time. We will see each other online once again, but at least we're on site in the Play 14 Madrid and Play 14 Berlin, happening just right after we recorded this session. Manolo, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and for giving us this insight in this so powerful simulation. Thank you for that.
thank you to you, Julian.
And
Thank you to
to and to all our listeners. There are many other episodes. I will link the sources and the events that Manolo and I mentioned, and definitely I will also make sure that you can easily reach Manolo. And until then, take care and goodbye. You can reach us at hello@keylearning.net. We're looking forward to your suggestions, comments, and feedback.